It's the All Birdies, No Bogeys podcast, your weekly disc golf analysis podcast right here on JomezPro. I'm your host, Brian Earhart. My co-host, Nate Perkins, joins me. Six-time world champion Paul McBeth joins me. It's the 2026 season, folks, and we have our first preview show of the year, and I'm so excited to have Paul, the man behind the modern version of Olympus, is here to walk us through the changes going into 2026. Paul, thank you so much for your time, my friend. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I appreciate you guys having me. But yeah, it's pretty wild. The season is, less than a week away.
So when I spoke with you this offseason, you were at Disney a majority of the time. I need you to talk to me about your offseason and how you balanced all the stuff that you have to do in disc golf with spending time with your family and your kid and wife and whatnot.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Every time you texted, we were at Disney. But it's about 2.5 hours away from our house. So we would take a couple trips, and then Olympus is 3 hours. So it's about another 45 minutes or an hour from Disney. So we would come in, check on the course, do things like that. But yeah, it's nice to let loose a little bit, visit family in California. And then I don't think we went up to Virginia this winter, it's kind of a first. But yeah, we all over the place this offseason, which was good. I feel like the season ended well for me. I was on a good rhythm. But then I think I really needed this break. So yeah, but now I'm really excited for the season. It came up quick.
How much of a break does it feel like to you? Yes, you're not traveling as much, but what are you juggling on your plate these days? I know obviously you have the foundation, you have the courses you're putting in. You also told us that you are trying to get back into a solid swing of training as well. So what all are you juggling this offseason?
Yeah, so the hardest thing, I haven't talked about it much, is I've developed like a food allergy this offseason. So it's been actually dealing with that a significant amount and trying to figure out what it is, because it's been a struggle. So it's felt like I feel like I've been sick the entire off season. But
Wow.
yeah, I think I'll get more figured out with some blood tests and things like that. But so that has definitely affected training. But I would say I really was able to kick it into gear once I kind of discovered what are the big no-nos for me. And so I would say it's been a solid 4 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks of really focusing on disc golf, feeling good, and just getting the skill level, and now getting into a routine where I feel like I can consistently do things day to day, and really dialing in what my body is able to take right now and accept. So that was wild, but luckily figured out, in time for the season. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm really excited for this year.
Talking about the course, a lot of changes this year. We see a lot of the players already there taking videos of some of the new shots. They all look super fun. Some of them look really hard. I think one of the main reasons we're having you on the show today is to kind of walk us through what you're doing at Olympus. And then also, I'd love to hear why.
Yeah. Well, I think when I used to play Throw Down the Mountain out there before Dylan and I took over the property, it tended to be a lot of blind shots, which kind of makes sense because it was only worked on 6 weeks out of the year. Like there was actually a course that people could play. So it was just a lot. They would kind of just continue to use the same layout that Mike created, and the Olympus layout is a play off of that. It's more tour level. We made a lot longer pads and things like that, and really found some land that they never touched. But it is for me. I wanted to take away as many blind holes as possible and make it as spectator friendly as I can with the elements that we have there. And I just didn't like the way that hole 6 played. You'd throw a blind, righty hyzer down this hill and just kind of listen, hope it was good. And then you'd kind of throw a blind turnover into this little pocket, which, again, it's a difficult shot, but I just don't like that aspect of the blind shot there. And I thought 5 was pretty good before, when we made it over the canyon. It was like 400 something foot shot. But seeing that we could move that tee pad back, and then that we had this big pocket of land between 4 and where 5 was, I felt like, hey, we should go walk up there. And we got bloodied up because it's all sawgrass and stuff, but it was definitely worth it because there was a really cool tunnel. But then in doing so, we had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do for six? And one thing you notice for the MPO layout is there isn't a hole where it's an ace is really possible, or one that's kind of a touchy, the sub 400-foot shot. So this was kind of the spot where I feel like we could have put something where people can watch from the bottom, and they can also, see eight coming down, and then you can also look far beyond eight, and you can see 18 people finishing on 18. So I think it's just a very good visual hole, a little switch up on the course, and maybe have some highlights on that one.
Yeah.
But then there were also some other changes. I don't know if you want me to jump right into those, or we can.
Well, I kind of want to get specific on the second first. You mentioned that you want to kind of give the spectators some better viewing spots. Is that the reason for kind of pushing that one back and bringing it more to the edge of the hill versus having it be like a sharp dog leg behind the pine?
Are you talking about
Hole
five?
two,
Hole
hole
two.
two, hole two's basket placement. It used to
Yes.
be that dog leg right, and kind of you
Huh.
could never watch it if you're out in the fairway as a fan. You couldn't really see where people were putting from. Is that kind of the reason for the change there?
That is a little bit, and I really didn't like that it was kind of a lucky shot to get into the green there. And I don't know if where it is now is going to be our final spot. We do have a lot of other area we can move it, but it just seems like moving six, we could really utilize that basket and that area still for hole two.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how straight it was because it doesn't really fit because you kind of got to let the disc bend to the left a little bit off the tee to get in the ideal spot, and then you kind of got to swing it back to the right. But from the tee box, you can actually see the basket, which I didn't know that was going to happen. So it's actually kind of a bonus in that aspect. But yeah, I thought, let's still make a really challenging green. And then if you do air it and get it pin high, like you can carry down into that bowl that used to be six and have a very challenging um, putt coming back, or even a layup's very difficult there. You kind of got to push it high right. And then if you push it too far high right, you're in some brush and then you're looking down at that cliff putting. So you kind of want to play it a little bit on the shorter end, I think. But even that, you got a 25-footer looking up that hill and all that stuff. So I really love how it brought still a really challenging green into it.
and then the fifth, Paul. I feel you mentioned six kind of being one of the easier changes that you're bringing this year, and the fifth I think is going to be the new hardest hole on the course. Hole 16 and hole 4 were back and forth for the hardest last year. Talk about the distance required on the tee shot of hole 5 to get into the landing zone to be able to take that tunnel.
Mhm. Yeah, I think distance wise, it's a very specific distance. I think it's about 435 feet. Is kind of the ideal spot you want to be. You can be a little left, you can be a little right, but the distance is very key there because it is a small tunnel. And then the green has kind of a lot of OB up there. So even if you get into a spot where you're like, oh, I can go over the top, it's a very small green on the right side, especially.
With the
So it
cliff.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cliff there. So it is a very tough angle too. I'm yet to throw a good shot on there. I've only played it actually two times now. Because the changes when I came here and designed them, I don't get down here a whole lot to play.
Yeah.
Just because it is 3 hours from where I live. But yeah, I mean the changes weren't done until less than a month ago.
How many
But
people are going to be going over the top on that one, do you think? I feel like I saw some videos where they were taking a big forehand if they're a little short of the gap, or potentially grenade over the top. You see a lot of people trying that?
there is a mandatory. I don't know if they had it up by the time that they played those videos, so you can't.
Okay.
I think some of them played it to where they would have been going in front of the mandatory that's not there yet, which it should be there by
Gotcha.
tomorrow, I would guess. But there is still elements to where if you get past that, you can still go over on the left side as well as the right side. I really think just if people are in a bad position, they'll take that, and I think it's not often going to reward them.
Well, Paul, yeah, I'd love to kind of have you continue talking about the changes. Is there anything else? I know 13 is a big change that you made, but yeah, anything else that sticks out?
Yeah, I mean, two, three, we actually got rid of, or four, sorry, four, we got rid of some some of the logs that were kind of getting in the way of that upshot. I feel like that one is such a good hole, but there were still just some things that needed to go and get to clear it up, because that's honestly one of my favorite holes to play because it is so demanding. You can't slip up because there's a lot of debris and trees that get in the way, but also you have the OB on the right the entire time, and it's real easy to get into that. But yeah, 6 was a change. The FPO has a lot of changes. We can go over that in a little bit, but um, yeah, 11 has a new green. That one I'm really excited to see how it plays out because it is a forehand upshot up a hill, which I don't know if there's really any of those kind of shots anywhere on the course. Minus 18, which is kind of just you get both options. Um, and then 13 you mentioned, yeah, 13 is kind of a very W.R. Jackson-esque type of hole that people keep referencing it to. But yeah, just a 400 plus foot tunnel, and you got 2 late guardian trees where you either got to go down the middle or you can kind of sneak around them. But I think that's going to catch a majority of the shots that get through the initial gap. But I'm really curious to see how that one plays out. And then other than that, it's pretty much the same. Besides a lot of work done to the infrastructure of the tee pads.
Yeah, and when you're redesigning these holes, is this a committee, or are all these changes kind of from your own mind, or are you bringing on Nate Heinold, or are you bringing on Kevin Kiefer, Dylan Cease, possibly?
Kevin is definitely involved in a lot. I've talked with Calvin. Calvin, I don't know if he was involved in any of these changes, but with the original layout, he was around a lot, and I would ask him questions, and he could get up here a little bit easier than I could. But Nate, I don't think had any input on any of these changes besides just don't mess them up, is what he told us. But
It's good
yeah,
input, Nate.
yeah, just don't screw it up. So it's been, yeah, this has kind of been our course, and everything that we've done is
Cool.
there's been a couple of things where Pro Tour's like, hey, maybe you should do this, but those are more on the FPO layout. But yeah, we've kind of been able to do our own thing with this course, and I think it's turned out really well. And there is a couple more tweaks I want to do for the 2027 year, but I'm glad we got as many projects done as we did. But there are a couple holes I still want to make a bit more challenging. With hole 3 being one, for example, that I think it's just a little on the easy side, but I think I have an idea what to do for next year.
Do you want to share some of that with us? Is there an idea that maybe will happen, maybe won't happen?
Well, there'll be a longer tee box to where the landing zone will be down at that bowl, and then we'll actually have to throw upshots up to the top.
I see.
So I'm gonna push that tee box back somewhere, and yeah, we won't be getting up that hill like we are unless we're extremely aggressive. But if you know anything about that left side early, it is not where you want to be. So I want to get people going over there more often.
When you bring someone like Calvin in to take a look at the course, what input has he given so far, and what are you looking for from someone like him? Is it his distance that you like to base your course designs off of, or what about Calvin is solid when it comes to getting course help?
I think he's just very honest, and he's really good at giving constructive criticism. He's not just going to say this isn't good, you need to change it. He's like, hey, I don't think this is the best. I think we should be looking more at this kind of shot or this kind of shape, or what about moving it over here because that'll do this to the angle of the where you need to land and things like that. So he's very very good on that aspect of being very constructive with his criticism and actually giving ways to improve something that he might feel is off, or actually just completely being like, this is wrong, let's do it this way. And he's really good at that, and not just making someone feel bad about their course design.
Now, you guys have a lot of history out here as well, Paul.
Yeah.
Was Throwdown the first place that you battled against Calvin? Can you recall?
We definitely have had our battles at Throwdown, probably a couple times. I think I've gotten the better of him all but one time. But yeah, it's definitely a course that it took me a while to come to. So when we were playing early on, we didn't get a battle out here, but yeah, it's definitely a fun place, and I feel like it's definitely a dramatic course because not only is 18 such a big, stroke swing possibility, but now 17 has, as we've seen, has really brought some drama to it. So unfortunately, Calvin and I haven't battled in this, in the Supreme Flight Open or chess.com yet, but we have in Throw Down the Mountain history. So hopefully we get another battle here soon, though.
You mentioned the FPO layout has changed a lot as well. Would you say it's changed more than the MPO layout?
Yeah, I would say a lot more because they got more dedicated tee pads now, and then a couple of pin changes. So I know one's a new tee box, two's a new tee box, three's a new pin, four is the same, five's the same, six is a new hole, seven they got a new tee box. Um, and then it might be almost the same on the back nine though for them. But I mean, 11 they got a new pin location, so now it's a par four instead of that really hard par three. Let's see what else. 12's the same, 13's the same, 14's the same, 15 the same, 16 the same. 17 they have a new par three, which is it's going to be different than every other hole on the course. It's almost the opposite of six, but a little shorter. And that we've played for Throwdown in the past, and it's just such a tricky green to land on and all that stuff. So I actually haven't played it from the tee pad we have now. I used to play from a shorter spot, but I just remember that one being really technical and hard. And I'm curious to see how that one plays for them. And then 18's the same. So
Do you make these changes based on scoring spreads, scoring averages from previous years, or feedback you get from players? Where does that all come from?
a mixture of both, definitely. Like scoring is one of the biggest ones. That's what you look at first. Is if it's 50% par or worse, something needs to change. We want there to be some kind of difference there. So hole one was just seemed like it was a little too far out of range, so we gave a little shorter pad there. And then two, we brought back kind of the old Throw Down the Mountain hole two there with that tee box where it's kind of you're throwing out this tunnel, and then they're going to go to the same tee box to where it's kind of give them something difficult to hit off the tee and then let them go from there. But yeah, what you said is we look at the statistics and then also kind of the film and see how they play certain holes and see if they're kind of playing how we designed it. And if not, we should make something, tweak it a little bit. But yeah, giving them a little bit more dedicated course too. So it's not so much overlap.
In general, FPO, MPO, when you're designing courses these days, when it comes to a championship course, what percentage of like the top players, like is it the top 10, top 20, top 30? Who are you designing these courses for? Do you try to design it for the whole division? Like, where do you base your challenge in course design in general?
I guess I usually like to look at if it's like a par four, par five, I want you have to throw great shots to get birdie. Good's going to get you a par and bad's going to more than likely get you bogey. But like if you throw a bad shot and a great shot, you can save your par. If you throw good, you're going to have a par. If you throw, any aspect of great, you need two great shots to get birdies. So that's kind of what I look at it for, or that's how I kind of like to design courses. Because I want there to be, birdies are really hard, and I want bogeys to be mistakes. I don't want the luck aspect of it. So that's usually what I look at, and so far I feel like so far I've done good. I'm sure just like in disc golf, you're gonna have to evolve in course design and stuff. But for now, I think that's kind of the elements I'm going with.
Last question for me before I kind of pass it off to Perkins. I feel like there's a guy you need to highlight, and you've told me all about this guy. I'm getting pictures from our operations crew and camera guys. The guy who's doing the woodworking out there at your course
Incredible.
is phenomenal. Yeah. And you're telling me he's doing this a lot for free for the most part? Like, who is this guy? And can you explain some of the stuff he's done for this tournament?
Yeah, Danny. I'm pretty sure it's McDonald is his last name, but Danny, I just know him as Danny. He goes out there and he's just volunteering all his time and all his effort. And, we try to recognize him as much as we can because he likes to work alone. That's kind of his thing is he just wants to go out there and this is his therapy in a way where he he used to do woodworking before. From what I've heard, is he used to do these decks for homes and used to do these extravagant builds. So the fact that we are lucky enough to have him just volunteering and doing this on the course, because he is just so thankful that Dylan and I came and saved this property for the community and have, turned this into a permanent disc golf course that, he feels like this is him giving back to the course and what we've done. So we're, extremely thankful for everything he's done. And so far I've had to kind of slow him down and be like, Danny, we don't need this many decks right now. We're doing great. Let's get the tournament and then we'll build another deck after the tournament. Cause he was ready to go and build it. Cause hole 16, we're going to build a deck so you can kind of see over that hill. But I felt like it was getting a little too close to the tournament. I was like, Danny, let's wait until after the tournament and you can just go back to it if you want. But yeah, he's very passionate. We're very thankful for him, and he's making this place look incredible beyond anything I imagined that we would have for the tee boxes. And as long as he wants to keep helping us, we're gonna keep letting him do his thing. And I'm just gonna say, hey, Danny, here's what do you think of this? And he usually says, all right, I'm on it. But I would say I think he gets a lot of the stuff sponsored. So that's kind of where he's been driving all his projects, is finding sponsors for these projects.
He's a beaver.
Yeah.
Just got to build with wood.
Yeah.
No choice.
Yeah. So have you ever seen them yet, Brian? Or are you here?
What was that?
Are you here in Florida yet? Have you seen them in person?
Not in person yet.
Yeah.
Tuesday night I get in.
Okay. Yeah. They're even better in person. The pictures don't truly do them justice.
Yeah, there's slight taper. There was the post, I think it was hole 5, but just like the way it slightly tapers away so the right hand backhand can like have the follow through, like attention to detail there. And the fact that he's like doing this for free, I don't know, it's somehow just unique to our sport, right? Like we still are in that era where the community is a part of these events where we have athletes from all over the world. I hope we never lose that.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned 5. We actually had to have him take that down and redo it because of what you just mentioned. And also like,
okay,
hey, Danny, we're going to need a handrail here. And he's like, okay, I built this thing to be able to come apart and do these kind of things, to where he adjusted it, made that. And then he's also finding new ways to like get these carpets and these turfs down there to where once they wear out, he can just readjust them. Or if the tee pad needs to move in the future, I just screwed it in this way, I can unscrew it and we can move it. So it's been incredible to see him do that too. Because that's funny you mentioned that hole exactly, because we did make that change.
Sweet. Yeah, those details, they mean a lot, right? And one thing that I think I've been hearing from a lot of the players is how much variety there is on the course. And talking to you personally, I know that that's pretty important to you with course design. But where do you rank this one, Paul, on courses that you've been a part of?
It's hard to not be biased on it, because it's my favorite course to play right now. It's so fun to just go out there and know that you're going to throw such a variety of shots. You're going to throw distance drivers, backhand, forehand. You're going to throw fairways, backhand, forehand, and you're even going to get the mid-range tee shots on some of these holes. So I love the fact of the variety and then the elevation. I actually just selfless plug here. I dropped the video with on my YouTube channel, which the thing that blew me away is that you can actually see the elevation on the camera and the shots that Joey was getting, because I feel like so many of the courses we play don't get the justice of the elevation and the difficulty of these courses that we play. And I feel like that was the first time you could actually see it on film, because I look so small compared to some of these greens and some of these hillsides. So it is definitely in my top 3 courses. So I feel unfair because it's my course to say it's number 1, but I can guarantee it's top 3. And I think it is top 3 for a lot of players as well now.
How often are you checking in with Dylan about this course? Do you just let him go play baseball and get his big contract signed? Or like what's the relationship there these days when it comes to this course?
This course, and then some of his other ones like Cactus Rock, he just gives me the green light and says, hey, you're the professional, you're the course designer. I'm not gonna, he'll just have his little elements of his things he wants to see. So he has like one hole at Cactus Rock where we're like, this is Dylan's hole. Like he really loved this piece of land and he wanted it to go this direction, and that was Dylan's thing. And I was like, all right, well, we'll design it that direction and we'll do this. So actually, Olympus, he didn't have any say in the design or anything like that. It was already pretty much designed before he even saw it, but he just trusted me with what we did with Cactus Rock to do the same with Olympus. And I don't know, he's seen it a couple times, but I think he's actually gonna make the trip up because his spring training's about 45 minutes or an hour south of Olympus right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I think he'll be at least to one or potentially two of the tournament days.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great to hear. I'm glad he's still somewhat involved. He gave you the green light to kind of do whatever you want, but that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I wanted to also ask you. Again, we talked to you earlier in the off season. You mentioned that you wanted to start, training more, booking out more time to train, amongst all the other things you were doing. But then you said you had this food allergy that kind of stopped you for a little bit. I'd love to kind of hear, frankly, a little bit more about that. But then also, right now, how is the game feeling? How confident do you feel going into the week?
Everything feels great. I feel good now. I know what to avoid. I know what I can eat and make me, still feel good. It just seems like it's way more fish than I ever thought I would eat in my life. But fish and rice seems to be, and cucumbers seem to be the top three right now. So it's like sushi and whatnot. But yeah, I think uh, it's just kind of stay away from red meat right now. That's really what's been making me pretty
What?
sick.
It's not the tick-borne allergy, is it?
I,
Do you
I'm
rule that
I'm
one out?
definitely gonna find out when I get up to Virginia. That's
No
somewhere I
way,
want to
man.
get tested because I know it's very popular up there,
Yeah,
or it's very common up there. I should say not popular. It's very common up
right.
there. So I'll be up there after New Orleans and getting all the blood work done and going to the specialist. But it wouldn't surprise me. But I know people who have it, so I know what to avoid and kind of the places that they have to eat. So I've kind of been sticking to that. But I definitely got it pretty severe to where I was getting the panic attacks, chest pains, felt like I was having almost like
Wow.
heart attacks, honestly, to where I was in the emergency room and such. But um, it was pretty rough and scary. But now it's pretty under control, I would say. But there's a lot of things I need to continue to see what truly are the things causing it. I have an idea, but I'm not the expert. But I know what's making me feel okay and feel good now. So I'm just sticking to those and being bland. But yeah, so now I can start doing all the stuff I wanted to because it really did suck because I was looking so forward to the off season because it's the best I felt healthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, physically, mentally, everything was good. And I was like, I wish the season was still going. But yeah, it
Wow.
definitely turned things around. And now I feel like I'm finally in a routine. I'm waking up good, getting out to the course, getting the training going. I'm gonna start actually after this week because I want to make sure I was feeling good because it has been pretty recent. But yeah, throwing the disc and everything feels great. Going on the course, everything feels good cardio wise. So not feeling tired after playing that course is big.
I got one last question before I pass it over to Nate for some more questions. But I didn't really get clarification on this. I don't think we've ever spoken about this. But uh, why Zeus 2.0? You guys retooled the Zeus. I really loved that disc. What was the 2.0 for?
Yeah, so I think well, the name will come public. The actual name will come public on Monday.
I
That
see.
was just we just kind of did a run and a retooling. I shouldn't even say it's a retooling. It's another disc based off the Zeus.
I see.
So that's kind of where the name comes, like the 2.0 came from, is we took the Zeus and it just wasn't what I felt like should be or would be in like touring players' bags. So like the Zeus is staying the way that it is. The Zeus is more common to be flat, a little faster. I think a lot of people throw it forehand more than anything. But I wanted the Zeus to be like a flyer, the very controllable distance driver. And it was just we're finally, Discraft's been busy. Discraft's been very busy. They've had a lot of players, and it's finally the moment to, we finally had time to go back to the Zeus and tool it to where, I felt like where I truly wanted it. And, we tweaked the nose a little bit on it. The Zeus typically has a little bit more of a square nose. Now it's kind of a little bit more round. And then we've gotten a very consistent dome on it, which I know a lot of people like the flatness of the Zeus because they like to forehand it, and people don't really like to forehand the domey disc. But I feel like the touring players tend to like the domey, the pop tops for their backhands and forehands. So so we kind of made a new disc off the Zeus.
Okay.
But yeah, the 2.0 is kind of just something fun that we did for disc geese.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I like the Zeus. I think it's a great disc. Please don't change it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a new disc. Yeah.
Nate, what do you got?
I just got one memory in the bank. First time I played to throw down the mountain, it was Charlie Goodpasture, myself, Dave Wiggins, and Paul McBeth. And I was playing it blind. And Paul, I don't know if you remember this specifically, but you walked me around every corner and showed me exactly where to throw. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I wonder how much money someone would pay to play a course blind with Paul McBeth and have him walk around the course and show me where to throw. Actually, I shot 1025 that day. Paul ended up shooting 1070 or something and ended up getting Calvin in that tournament by one. Well, I don't know how many times you've won it, at least 3 from my recollection, but at least 3 times. And then, and then the tournament last year, I mean, the ending to the tournament last year at Olympus with you and Rick on the card after Rick had just switched with AB, with Ezra Robinson. I'm hoping for another show like that this year. I know you didn't get off to the best start on that final round, but I hope there's another lead card similar to the one we were treated with last year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do remember us playing together and walking you through the course. I do remember because Charlie was there.
Yeah.
And, Charlie's funny. He always has some moment, and I remember that one specifically that you were there for that round, and it was Charlie and you said Wiggins. Yeah.
Yeah, Wiggins out fresh off the boat.
Yes. That's right. He would always sneak over. And come out to that one. But I mean, I'm looking forward to the Supreme Flight Open this week. I think this tournament's, it's what are we in year 3 now, and it seems to always find itself, kicking off the year in a great way. So I mean, for me, unfortunately, it's been new winners each time. So like first time winners. So I need to change the narrative.
It's time to win. It's time to pop off and have everybody say, oh, well, he designed the course. It doesn't matter. But then you say, screw you guys. I got the win.
Yeah.
And also, I got to say, year after year, this course has cleaned up so much. Like when I first came here for the Pro Tour event, there was still so much infrastructure that needed to get built out. And it just continuously got better and better and better. And I got to give you and everybody that works with you, Danny especially, huge shout out to that guy. I can't wait to shake his hand if he's out there. It looks fantastic, and I can't wait to be there this week. Perkins is going to be in the booth. He's not going to be there. I will be there, and I'll be following along. Any other shout outs that you have for the people before we let you go?
Well, I mean, Discraft, of course, being a title sponsor along with the Adventure Coast, they've really helped out, which is the tourism board out here in Brooksville and this area in general. They've been huge supporters of our event, and we're so thankful for them. And they're going to be out there again. And if anyone's in the area, the Brooksville area or within traveling distance, come on out, watch. It's gonna be a great show, and if you haven't seen the course yet, you're in for a real treat because it is one of the most special courses on tour. And I'm just so excited for it. Another year. I loved how last year finished, and I feel like I'm still carrying that momentum into this year. Even though the off season was not the best, there's still so many great moments I had in the off season that are gonna help me go right into another year.
Paul, thank you so much for your time, my friend. And I'll see you out there on Tuesday.
All right, appreciate it. See you guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Hey, buddy. Wow. Okay, a lot of information. Nate, what do you take away from this conversation?
that ticks are the worst thing for a disc golfer, period. It's like worst nightmare, right? Every disc golfer, especially East Coast, you're worried about the ticks for Lyme disease, but I really hope that Paul gets some good news about the alpha-gal syndrome, which is the tick-borne illness that you can get that prevents you from eating red meat for the rest of your life. It's a weird one, mysterious one, and I feel that for him that he's going through this. It seems like it's just impossible to dodge injuries and curveballs as an athlete, right? And we don't talk about it enough, like how hard it is to stay 100% for every tournament. What is it? How many years now for McBeth? This
is 19.
This is 19. That's hard to believe, and I can't count that many injuries for him. Right? He had the shoulder injury at the end of what was that 23, but he's been healthy for a lot of his career, and so hopefully this one doesn't hold him up too much. And then talking about those course changes, I really think a lot of them, Brian, are home runs. I feel like cleaning up 4 was a big deal. The tee pad on 4, big deal. I think that the change on 2, I think makes the hole a little bit easier because it doesn't have that sharp of a dog leg, so you don't have to put the tee shot as far left up by the sawgrass to give yourself that angle. You can kind of approach the pin from anywhere. But what he's talking about with opening up for spectators and still having that slope right there and making people think about how they want to approach there without having a bit of what he was calling luck to kind of get through the trees. I like that change, even though it is slightly easier. And then 5 is like diabolical. To get to the landing zone of 5 is a monster tee shot that you have to shape through. It's 40 feet wide on the other side of the valley, but it has to be turning kind of through that gap because of the subtle turn that you have to have off the tee pad. And then it just has to finish straight. If it hyzers off left and early, it's toast. And that's why I feel 5 is going to be the new hardest hole on the course, because there's OB up by the pin. It's inside the circle on the 5th. And I didn't even know about the Mando until McBeth just mentioned it. So the over the top shot is likely not going to be an option. So if you want the birdie, you have to throw 440 flex, and you can't go 460 and you can't go 415. It has to be right in there to give yourself the angle up the hill, and even that shot's touchy. So imagine if you don't make it over the valley. And what are you throwing then? Like, you're throwing an approach shot straight up, straight nose up to get back to that landing zone to try and get your par. So I think there's going to be some big numbers there, and there's not going to be that many birdies. Well, what did you kind of make of conversation with Paul?
Oh, man, I feel like anyone listening to this episode knows somebody. And again, he said he doesn't really know what happened. Whether it's tick related or not, who knows? The one thing I will say is anyone who's listening to this podcast knows somebody who's been bit by a tick and either, got Lyme disease or got this red meat allergy that apparently can come from a tick bite, or has gone on multiple rounds of doxy to have to get rid of Lyme disease. I've myself, on my years on tour, have gone through 2 different cycles of doxy because I got the bullseye tick or the bullseye bite from a tick. And it's scary. It's terrifying because you've also met people that have had their lives ruined by Lyme disease. It's absolutely horrible. And, frankly, if Paul can hear back that red meat is the only thing that just has to go for a pro athlete, not that big a deal. Obviously, it stinks not being able to have steak ever again, but to have your health, and again, going into his 19th season, he's going to have his health be top tier. And I think up until that point, it sounded like it was top tier. So it was nice to hear some optimism in his voice. It sounded like he's really excited to get out there and compete. It feels like, I don't know. It's just nice to hear somebody so experienced talk about disc golf with such excitement. I know he's not like the most charismatic, like boisterous type individual, but you can kind of feel the joy that he's about to experience next week. Other thing that I take away, I love that he's not afraid to make big changes on this property. Yes, he owns it now, but yes, a lot of people watching the tournament, playing the tournament, they have like an emotional stake in the course and in the property. I know I talked to Greg Hosfeld, a legend in disc golf, for a long time about all these different holes. We'd be walking by a spot in the course, and he'd point down a little alleyway that didn't have anything in it, and he was like, "That actually used to be a fairway," and he was telling me all these stories, and there's just so much history on this land. So the fact that Paul said, "You know what? I'm going to make this the best possible course that I can," and that's it. I love that. I love that, and I feel like this course kind of has a similar feeling like W.R. Jackson, where the people feel very uh, attached to this place. So I couldn't think of a better place to start the season at. And yeah, some of
Same.
these changes look ridiculous, and some of the holes that he designed look really fun. And I'm glad the FPO layout is getting some more holes that are not going to be par fests, because I feel like FPO layout last year still needed a lot of work. And you know what? Year 3, I'm glad that they're still putting in the work and they're looking at the scoring spread, and they're out there trying to make a better and better course.
Well, yeah, we talked about it a bit on actually. Can we announce that about CBS? We totally can. So we worked on a broadcast. Brian and I worked on a broadcast with Joe Canali. He's a Emmy writer for ESPN and CBS, 8-time Emmy winning sports
Really?
producer. 8-time. He
Wow.
showed me 8 Emmys above his mantle the other day. But it's coming out on Thursday, the 26th, so the day before the tournament, and it is basically a condensed show from last year's Supreme Flight Open, and uses some Jomez coverage, and then Brian and I talked a little bit about the setting and stuff. But we talked about it on that show about the FPO layout last year, Brian, how the course played 5 under was getting you on the lead card each day. So after round 1, Holland led with a 5, 3 down got you on the lead card, and then 7 by Ella day 2 completely changed the game. But we go and look, and there's less than 10 people under par each day in a field of 45, right? And almost a full field each day. So Cat Merch went hot on final round with an 8. So 8 was the hot for the tournament. But again, on that final day, 12, maybe 14 people under par. There was only 1 hole on the front and 1 hole on the back that played under par on day 1. Hole 5 was the only hole that played under par. Hole 13 was the only hole that played under par on the back. So that's not to say that's just a blanket statement that if holes are playing over par that they're bad. But
For
when
sure.
the whole course is kind of playing over par for the field, it seems that, the technicality here specifically for Olympus might have been just turned up a little too much for the FPO.
And the distance. Yeah.
The distance as well. Some of the holes you needed like a 400-foot power forehand to net the birdie, right? And so I think that they addressed that specifically, the technicality, and they shortened a few, changed 17 up. I love that. That was kind of a big backup hole for FPO. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting into the mix there with you on the broadcast, Brian, and getting you to kind of break down some of those hole changes for us after you get out there and walk the course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to have my little rangefinder, get my distances, make sure that I know exactly how long the carries are. That's some of the hardest challenges on the course, are just carrying over some of these canyons on some of the shots. There were a couple holes, I think it was 9. It's like 430 to carry. It's so far. You're throwing a full power
Insane.
shot. Guys that are throwing 500 feet are like just barely clearing over it. You have to throw a full flex, pick a side. There's this big tree in the middle. He loves to do that. I've talked a lot with Paul about course design over the years, and he loves for MPO, he loves that like 460, 470 range for like a par three or a really challenging par 4 or 5. And yeah, that's a smash. That's like a 70, 72 mile an hour smash with like very good control. So yeah, I like Paul's designs. I think what he's done on the courses that we've used on the tour has been great. I think what he's done in Virginia and New London is phenomenal. And that course keeps getting better and better. And then this one, I'm just glad to see a venue start to form at this place. Obviously, it's been a good disc golf course for a long time, but we're finally starting to see sight lines open up, spectator lanes get cleaned up a little bit more, places where you can watch multiple holes get played. That's the next frontier for our sport at the top level, is how do we take some of these courses that are established and turn them into championship venues that people can come and have the best weekend of their life at. So yeah, can't wait.
Well, Brian, we've got a little bit of some news to break at the moment. I'm looking at the weather for Brooksville, Florida, and I mean, this is the Sunshine State, right? Like you look,
This is the Sunshine State.
Every day of the week, sunny and warm, and 54, albeit it's 54 degrees high on Monday, so a bit chilly for the first like official full practice day, but then it warms up. It's sunny. Up to high of 59 and 69 and 77 on Thursday, which is just your perfect Florida day. And then on Friday, what do we see? We've got some thunderstorms on the horizon. Yeah, we do. It is a 75% chance of precipitation, a little bit over a half-inch predicted for Friday. So, we're less than a week away. Hopefully that changes, but then we have a somewhat similar story on the next day, third of an inch. So not a hurricane predicted, but it's not just a ball of sunshine either. Now, considering it's the first event of the season, let's get into our first picks of the year, Brian.
Fine.
Let's start FPO. And first, who are we missing from in the FPO field, Brian? I believe we are missing Silva Saarinen. I believe we are missing Evelina Salonen.
Yep.
I believe we will be missing from here on out Kristen. I think,
Henna.
Unless she just gets the FOMO of all FOMO over there and decides to come out of retirement. Henna as well. So basically a lot of the Europeans, they're waiting. They're waiting to book that flight until what, Brian? What would be the move there?
Man, so
it's just too long of a season if you go that early.
For a player like Evelina, it's inevitable that she's going to make the Tour Championship. And I think I've been thinking a lot about this. If as we evolve as a tour, the Tour Championship continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the point series actually matters, just making the Tour Championship is going to be worth going out there on tour and battling every weekend. So for me, every tournament that you can play and get points at matters a lot. But for Evelina, she's likely to win multiple events. And it sounds like she's been training this offseason. I saw a lot of videos this offseason of her putting, working out her throws, working out her fitness. So I think she can miss this tournament. That's fine. It's sad because she's won this tournament before, but for a player like her who's dealt with, whether you call it performance anxiety, the yips, yada, 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 you do whatever you want, Evelina. You play whatever tournaments you feel like you're ready to play, and that's great. Some players, I look at like a Kat Merch, for example. She's just going to be a gamer. She's going to be at every single tournament that she can, and that's great. But for Evelina not being there, it's sad, but whatever. I think we see two Norwegians. Ida Milianesa is playing. Anniken Sten is going to be there from Norway.
Those are the only two Europeans in the field for FPO, which is crazy to think about. I mean, we only have 5 people outside the United States playing this first event. And again, it's the first one. It's early. I don't think it says a whole heck of a lot, considering the valid point that you just made. So who do you got, Brian? Who do you got
All right.
on this new Olympus layout?
And we're going to say this. We're going to say this, Nate. Here's our point structure. If
We
you
need a
get
good
one-
point structure
Yes.
because
if
we've
you
been
get
bailing
every year for years.
Every year,
even
we're
when
like,
we did
start it.
Tournament Central and we
Yeah.
revived that show from the dead, we still blundered our scores. So here's how it's going to be. And tell me what you think about this. We're going to do top 3 each division. If you get 1 right, you get 1 point. If you get 2 right, you get 3 points. If you get all 3 right, you get 5 points. If you get the right order,
10.
So we're going to say
Golden.
top. Yeah. Well, let me know what you think. You'll get an extra 5 points if you get a perfect order of the top 3.
Uh-huh.
Is it always placement, or do we just pick a podium and those 3 can just be in the podium? And then if the order happens to be right, you get the extra bonus.
That's it, right? Pick your order.
Mm-hmm.
I think pick your order, and then I think that's a pretty good structure. The 5 extra.
Okay.
If you get
so if they make the
in
podium,
order.
if the person you pick to be in first place gets 3rd, you still get a point.
Yep.
Okay. Here's my pick.
Mm-hmm.
Holland, no question, wins the tournament. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Second place, I gotta go Missy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go Missy. Why would I not? She's just driving, hop, skip, and a jump away from Pensacola. Actually, maybe what is that? A few hours from Pensacola. And then third place, I am gonna go Kat Murch. Kat Murch has been playing out there in New Zealand. She has not stopped traveling and playing disc golf. I think Kat Murch is going to get 3rd place at this tournament. Go ahead,
Good
Nate.
podium. Yeah, I think. Florida's big. I think it's like more like 8 hours or something to get all the way down that corner. Yeah, I kind of like. I thought it was close as well. I'm like, oh yeah, their Paige is probably jetting down there practicing. So is Missy, and like looked at it, it's like a full day's drive, but. Yeah, I said it last week. I really feel that this is going to be a season of dominance for FPO, and not to take anything away from the field average there. I think that there's a lot of talented players that are continuing to get better. I just feel that the top is just getting cleaner and cleaner. I just think, the way that Missy finished the season, I just don't see her making enough mistakes. I mean, I'm going to look at the PDGA rating for just a second. Missy Gannon, 989. She's leading. She's the highest rated player in the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you just go down 6 places, so rounding out the top 5 is Val Mandujano. She's at 971, which is, we'll round. It's 20 rating points different. It's 18 rating points different. That is a minimum of 2 strokes average per round. So going into the tournament, Missy is expected to beat 5th place by 6 strokes if it's a 3-round tournament. And that's not massive, but there's just not enough mistakes out there waiting for Missy to stumble on, right? I think she's for sure in the podium. I think my 1, 2, and 3 is Holland Hanley, Missy Gannon, and I'm actually going to go with Val Mandujano. I think this course is getting a little shorter. To me, when I think about what it takes to succeed at Olympus, it has always been about avoiding the big numbers and finding the fairway and having that touch, being able to throw these uncomfortable shots from the sawgrass, being able to get a little tricky when you're like in a little palmetto, and just avoiding those really bad spots on the course and finding the fairway 70% of the time, and that's Val's specialty. That's my podium. Yep. MPO.
All right, let's do MPO. Let's do MPO here.
Way harder.
It's way harder. There's more players.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually right now, it's only a field of 96, and there's 2 Monday qualifying spots. Lowest rated player is 992. Only
That's
four.
cutthroat until we get to that, the time change, until the fields start getting bigger. I mean, later in the year, it's like 140? It
Yeah.
goes to 120 and then it goes to like 140 later in the year when we get more sun. So this is just, it's tough because you go down this, and so that's 40% of the field. Like you're going to have 40 guys, 50 guys that are above 1,000 rated that are guaranteed to miss the cash.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that last cash at a tournament's not going to be $5,000 anytime soon, and first place is not going to be 40 grand. But if the tour championship can one day offer 100 grand for first place, I know it's ridiculous, like right now in this era of disc golf, but with the Powerball sponsorship, hopefully maybe opening the door for bigger ones in the future, we get some licensing deals doing well. Who knows? But that gives incentive to a player to be like, all right, no worries. I can miss cash like 1 week, 2 weeks. I just have to play exceptionally well at a handful of tournaments and I can make the tour championship. So I think it's going to be a problem that needs to be solved over time. Otherwise, we will at some point start to lose talent on the tour. Um, everything is expensive these days, not just in disc golf, but in life. So I'm so excited to see that this much talent, this many 1030 rated players on the list here at MPO. My number one this tournament's going to be Gannon. I know he likes to say that he typically doesn't start out hot. This man went to the Memorial, which is a place where if you're not crisp, you're going to shoot like not a good round and feel terrible about yourself. This man went 17 down at a course that a lot of players were talking trash about. And when that happens, it's very easy to just buy into that and not play well. You underestimate the course, shoot like crap, confirmation bias, blah, blah, blah. He shot 17 under par there. Birdie the first 17 holes in the course, missed 18. That to me says he's all business. He's going to show up. He's going to do the little things correctly. And I think he's going to win. Number two is tough because there's a few people that I've been looking at. I looked also at the people that went over to New Zealand. Didn't quite find one that I felt like would make the podium. I think second place is going to be Aaron Gossage. Aaron Gossage went to the Memorial and shot 50 under par and got second place to Gannon Burr. In 4 rounds, he went 50 under with a brand new.
Did you see how it finished as well, by chance? Did you see the final shot?
I didn't see the final shot. What happened?
Well, so Fountain Hills hole 18. There's most players nowadays, it didn't used to be, but most players nowadays are throwing the big flick to get there. Gannon had 1 stroke over Gossage. Gannon throws the flick to maybe 40, 45 feet. And Gossage throws a big power flick. There was tailwind on the hole. Parker Welk was doing the commentary actually, and he was talking about how if you kept it a little too low, the tailwind would kind of drop it down into the water. Aaron throws a pretty low screamer. It looks like it has the pace to get there, and then just kind of drops out, and it gets that retaining wall. It's like the cement that kind of creates the pond, and sometimes those will skip out, but it just like dead skip, hit the wall back into the water. And if it just stays up in the air, I mean, he parks the hole and they kind of go into a playoff. So, I mean, to shoot 50 under period ever, any course, any amount of rounds is just incredible. To win La Mirada in the fashion that he did, that A tier, that was a good week. Beat a lot of good players out there who were playing well. I'm big on Aaron Gossage as well. I think that there still is this massive kind of question mark on whether or not he can persevere when it's those final moments, right? I think we've seen it now a minimum of 5 times where the win is in his hands and then he lets it slip through because the emotions, it's almost like the gravity of the win like hits him. He's like, this is going to happen. I remember it happening at OTB when Emerson Keith won. I just remember him realizing he's walking up to the putt on 11 and it just all seemed to hit him, and then all of a sudden he couldn't make another putt for the rest of the day. And then the World Championships 22 against McBeth, Aaron misses 9 putts inside the circle in one round and still goes into a playoff with Paul. And then the Tour Championship, last year, there's just so many moments where the emotions kind of got the best of him. And that's the only question mark I have for Aaron. Last year, on average, he threw the disc. The only person that threw the disc better than him was Gannon. He was second in the slugging percentage, so I'm big on him. I derailed you, Brian. Who's your third?
My third, I'm going to go Calvin Heimburg. Calvin Heimburg did play some disc golf this offseason. He went out and played some disc golf in Asia, won the tournament, beat Jackie Chen out there, and shot some decent golf. And he knows this course very well. Obviously, there are new fairways, but I was talking to Paul in that interview, and I was kind of asking him a question, like, when you make these designs, like, what player do you think about when you're designing these distances? And I feel like I've heard from other course designers, they're like, I want to make this Calvin proof. I want to make this hole Calvin proof, but that means you're also kind of designing the hole with him in mind. I feel like this course, no matter what holes you throw at him, are Calvin lines. Low, bullets, stable driver, and get up and down with whatever stable putter you got. And I feel like he's that guy. And I'm going to put him in third place. I'm glad that he played some disc golf this offseason. And yeah, that's my top 3. What do you think?
I'm down with it. I don't have any holes to poke in those players outside of what I mentioned about Gossage. I watched I'm calling the shots from play by play. It's a big opportunity this upcoming weekend, and I was watching the Aaron Gossage Ezra Aderhold practice video to kind of get their thoughts on the course. And Aaron has a lot to say about the changes and stuff, and it's honestly really a lot of insight to see how those individuals attack it and to see what kind of shots they actually throw, but then to get their take on the angles and how this change is going to affect and what they think the other players are going to do. So shout out to them for doing a great job and staying consistent there. I think it's great for the fans to see, but then great for people like us who are like, let's check out what's going on at the course. And my top 3, Gannon for sure. Again, we just look at the rating and he's far and ahead away of everyone else. 8 rating points ahead of Rick and Calvin. And then you don't have to go down very far. He is 20 rating points ahead of the guy who threw the disc almost as well as him last year. So again, we're talking at a minimum 2 strokes per round on average. He's beating Aaron Gossage by. I like Gannon Buhr. I like Calvin Heimburg, and man, I think that Calvin does have a lot of pressure being arguably he is the local here, right? Calvin's down in Tampa, which is just probably without any traffic right inside an hour. So Calvin can jet up there, and as Paul mentioned in this interview, he can get up there and look at some changes for Paul, but then he can just like rip the course. He has a lot of history here. As Paul humbly mentioned, that Calvin only bested him one time, but my memories with Calvin in Florida is that he balls out, right? This is where he cut his teeth, and this is where he first beat Paul McBeth and kind of put the Heimburg name on the scene. And I think it would be just a great storyline if he was able to be in the mix toward the end. I want to throw Nicklaus in there, and it's between Nicklaus and AB for me, because as I mentioned with FPO, I do feel that the Olympus course, while power is necessary, to me, I think the technical aspect is a little higher. I'm going to go AB over Nicklaus. So I'm going Gannon Buhr 1, Calvin Heimburg 2, AB number 3. And then I wanted to get from you, Brian, your best finisher under 1030.
Ooh, best
If you can
finisher
pull that
under.
PDGA list up.
Oh,
Yep.
I've got the list up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's below 1030.
Mm-hmm.
Mike. Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay. There's a lot of players who have improved a lot. And you know who I think it's going to be? I think
Uh-huh.
it's going to be Dallas Garber. 1025 rated from Gresham, Oregon. This is his first year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. He's coming off a fresh off season. This kid is an absolute stud. And I think we're going to see a lot of him, given that he stays healthy and the road life is for him. I think Dallas is going to be in a lot of lead cards in the future. So he's my pick.
Yeah, I really like that pick. If you recall, he's coming off of an 8-tier win at the OG, right? He won the Wintertime Open. Now he cruised all the way across the country and he played a little A-tier this weekend, the Frostbite Open 2026 over in Alabama. So big drive. And then where did he finish? So we go down and we look, Brian, 985 rated round one, 971 and a 980.
Oh,
So this is the big question, right? Because you win an A tier, you're young, you're all confident, you just beat Josh Anthon in a playoff, and then you drive across the entire country, probably the biggest drive he's ever done in his life, I would assume, as young as he is. And then you get your butt kicked, you miss cash by 4 strokes, you average 970, or you average like 980 golf for the weekend, 45 points below your rating. How does he respond? Right, those are the questions, because it's not always going to be easy. You're definitely not going to cash at every tournament, and even the smaller ones, you're going to get your butt kicked sometimes. So I don't hate the pick, but am a little hesitant just because he's coming off of a tough tournament. And I'm going to get back to this list. And
listen, do you remember that year when Gannon would literally win? He would shoot like garbage and he would get like 40th place and then win, and then 25th place and then win. A lot of times, if you're a competitor, that's good. That is just fine. And for him, we can make up a million excuses as to what happened. But the fact is, last year he won an absurd amount of A tiers. He's extremely talented. And he did win the Wintertime Open. He did play a course that is not his home course, where he traveled to and won. And so that's why I still stand by that. What's your pick?
oh, there's so many good players, dude. The middle of the field is the thing about our sport these days is I just really don't put anyone's overall skill set that much higher than the person right next to him. I mean, I'm comparing Joseph Anderson, Parker Welk, like both one-time Elite Series winners, both amazing, both technical players. Jaden Rice throwing the disc, incredible. He was, I think, top 25 in the slugging percentage last year. Raven Newsom just won that 8-tier I just mentioned, the Frostbite Open, shooting 1062 and 1043 to close it out. I love his flex forehand for Olympus. I love his circle 2 putting. It's hard when you get down in this, and that's why golf is so special, right? And such a hard sport to bet on as well. But if I'm going to go with someone, I'm going to do it here soon. Kevin Jones all the way down at 1020. Germ below the 1020 mark. James Conrad is probably the lowest rating he's been going into a season at 1015. All right. I am going to go with Parker Welk. I watched a bit of the Memorial and I felt like his putting is just, it's ascended into a new level. The spin that he's able to deliver, just getting him up in the air and just flying him into the chains. Yeah, we haven't seen him, compete for a win since he took down DDO out of the blue a few years back. And yeah, he's making a big trip, but I'm going to go Parker Welk for my sub 1030.
There you have it, folks. Picks are in. The scoring is set. And Nate, are we allowing ourselves to change this, or is this locking in right here? Is this the format for the year?
Oh, yeah, the points? Yeah, let's lock in the points. Definitely.
how much does a win on underdog picks? How many points does that give you? If Dallas beats Parker,
if we go sub 1030, yeah, no, that's a point. That's a point. That's worth one.
All right, that's fine. That's fair. I'll take that.
If we can't keep a successful Google Doc that runs our point, like let's hire someone full time to add ones and twos for us.
Yeah, entry-level position requires 15 years of experience in data management. Sorry.
Yeah, that is what Indeed looks like right now. It's crazy.
I am so grateful to be in an industry that doesn't rely on Indeed. They rely on what you've done and what you can tangibly show people that you've done. So grateful for the disc golf community, grateful for disc golf, grateful for another season of the Disc Golf Pro Tour starting up. Nate, we got a lot of exciting things happening for both of us. I'm not going to speak too much into it. I'm just proud of you, man, and I'm stoked for another year. Talking Frisbee with you every week. So any final words with the fans?
Well, I'm just honored to be in the booth. I'll be with Val in the morning, and we will be sending it to you down on the course.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoons, I think I'm starting at like 5:30 or something, which will be new territory for me. But I'll have to make my own espresso. My favorite coffee shop, it won't even be open yet. And then in the evenings, it'll be myself, Nate Dawson, Nate Sexton. So the Nate Cubed situation, and we'll be sending it down to you. But I'm just excited for live disc golf again. I think a lot of folks really are. And yeah, excited for the year. We know that the sport will deliver for us, right? We know how competitive it gets. It just keeps getting more and more tight at the top, and I don't see that changing.
Well, folks, that's it. Disc Golf Pro Tour is underway. The Supreme Flight Open begins next Friday in hopefully not pouring rain. We'll see you next time.